So, welcome to Double E Elevating Entrepreneurs. I'm here with a special guest today. His name is Pierre. He's a 27-year-old Peruvian entrepreneur, and he's the co-founder of RR Revolution Fitness. It's a fitness brand for busy professionals, and they kind of customize the fitness based on you and your lifestyle. So, we'll get into that in a minute. His business partner is Sean Rivers, and he also is an owner of Red Carpet Properties, which is a real estate business, and it specializes in short-term rentals, which is really awesome. And then he also is a co-owner of a nonprofit that specifically helps low-income people in Peru, and it's called Hambre de Sueños. So he's going to kind of talk about those today. Why don't you go ahead and say hi to everyone?
Hi, everybody, and I'm super thankful to be here sharing all my experiences with everybody.
Yes, we're excited to have you. So tell us a little bit about how it was coming from Peru and starting business in America. I know we were talking before, and you said it was, quite a bit of a challenge since you didn't speak a lot of English.
Yeah.
So tell people how that happened, how you came here, and how you navigated that.
Well, I came here in 2011. It was really like a situation where I didn't have a lot of decision making, since my dad was the one who brought up the idea to us, right? So.
Okay.
And growing up, from in a foreign country, you watch a lot of these movies of high school here in America and everything else. So obviously, I thought it was going to be as cool as that.
Mm-hmm.
But the transitioning wasn't as easy, especially if you come from somewhere where you don't take English as serious. Probably the education part, I never took it too seriously. So when I came here, I had a rough time in high school.
Yeah. Okay.
But it took a few years to get used to it, make a few friends, and from there, then life just kept going on.
Okay. So how is it starting in what business did you start first, but how is it starting a business with, a little bit of a language barrier? What helped you? I know you said you just kind of figured it out, but
actually there is a lot of funny stories back in high school. I was part of this ESL program for English second language.
Sure.
So I had a lot of help from a lot of my teachers from there. I guess what set the tone for me and kind of be more confident speaking a language that I wasn't super sure about at first, was just not being afraid of messing up.
Okay.
Until the day of today, probably there are words there I'm
Sure.
get stuck on. But I remember that I joined the soccer team, and that was the only thing that I was really good at.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably the third or fourth Hispanic in the team.
Okay.
So, and even though it was already passed off the tryouts, as soon as the coach heard that I was from Peru, I was like, "You're in."
You're
So,
in.
and
You know all about soccer because
Right?
you're from Peru.
Yeah, you're from Peru. The only thing you do is play soccer, so
Yeah.
you're in. And I remember just making friends there. It actually helped me to feel more part of this environment.
Sure.
And then I was just just being silly with myself and silly with everybody, as just saying things out loud. Didn't care really about the grammar, or didn't care too much about
Okay.
putting the words together. As
Okay.
long as they got the idea what I was trying to say, I was happy
Okay.
with it.
Okay. That's good.
And they kind of took that into consideration, and they were making fun of me here and there, but it was just part of being friends with me.
Sure.
So
And look at you now. So 3
Right.
businesses in America.
yeah, I would never
That's an
thought.
incredible success story. Right?
Yeah, and I remember, as a matter of fact, funny story. You know how here they say "see ya," right? It's
Yeah.
see you later.
Yeah.
So when I first started, having friends in high school, "see ya" means chair in Spanish. Which
Oh yes.
So,
yeah.
I remembered multiple times saying, they were telling me "see ya," and I translated that to a chair.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, I thought saying back table,
Yeah.
chair,
You're
table.
you're like what?
And my friends were like, until one of my friends actually approached me. He's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Pierre, so just letting you know, I don't know why you respond table to us, but we're telling you, see you later." Like us, like, I'll see you, bye.
Bye.
And I was like, how come nobody told me this? It's been half of half of the year, and I've
Oh
been saying
my
table
God.
to everybody, and I was the weirdo.
That's
but,
hilarious. I love
but things
that.
like that, you know.
Yeah.
Until the
But
day
you
of,
weren't ashamed. You just figured it out.
right? Until the day of today, they always bring that into conversation. It's like,
Yeah.
hey Pierre, remember when you used to tell us see table when we used to tell you see ya? And I was like, yeah.
That's great.
But
I love that. So tell us about what business you started first and how that came together.
personal training.
Okay.
And it is actually quite a bit of a story because I was supposed to go to the military. Most
Okay.
of my family members have been always involved in the military. So I always liked that discipline that come with it. I always liked the fitness aspect. I'm that kind of person, kind of really like a routine follower.
Yes.
So my dad thought it was going to be a great idea that to join the Air Force.
Okay.
So as soon as I was done with high school, I went back home. I went back to Peru for vacations
Okay.
to say kind of say bye to everybody.
Yeah.
But
And that's by see you later, not
Right.
table.
to tell bye to everybody. But the funny thing is that I fell in love,
Oh.
came back, and I had to shatter my dad's dreams. So,
Oh.
and that was quite a bit of a
Yeah.
that was the start because I never thought I was gonna go to school.
Okay.
I never done like all those it's called SAT, I believe, like
Yes.
all those like,
ACTs and stuff like
all
that.
the stuff that they prepare you in school. You know,
Yeah.
everybody was so focused on trying to accomplish this,
Yeah.
and I was just sitting back. I was like, I'm gonna go to military. Like, what do I need to care so much about the school?
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Right? It doesn't matter. And then I came back, and I was like that. So I think I'm gonna be going to school. Almost got kicked out
Oh, jeez.
because I already had everything situated, ready
Yes.
to sign and then go.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, where I kind of follow my passion for anything that had to do with like the body itself.
Okay.
Anything that how the body works, the nutrition, the anatomy, and everything. So I initially wanted to go to school to be a physical therapist,
Okay.
and within 2 years, I mean, I already have come with a small background of like of training. Long story short, I used to how I really started this fitness lifestyle. I used to volunteer, and I used to clean a gym facility just to get a free membership.
Oh, wow. Hey, entrepreneur then as well.
Right? I used to lie to my parents.
That's an entrepreneur mindset, though, really.
Yeah, I really, really loved the sensation and the discipline of going to the gym, and it made me feel good. I was really skinny back then, so I used to play a lot of sports. So it gave me the strength that I needed in a lot of things. So I used to tell my parents that I was going to study in my friend's house, but I
You're going
used
to
to
the gym.
go to the gym, and the owner was a good friend of mine
Oh, nice.
from our neighborhood. So I used to go there, give cleaning the gym, you know, sweep, like give a little maintenance to the machines, and he will offer me free membership. It was just local gym, so that's why it was so
Yeah.
easy to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but still, you had that already entrepreneur mindset of figuring it out, you
Yeah,
know, or like
because-
doing what it takes.
Because my parent was not too supportive of like, you know, doing this kind of stuff while I was just like focusing on school.
Sure.
So he wanted me to like just do this on the side for like summer.
Sure.
And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to study, you know?
Yeah.
I was going to the gym.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, you know, set the tone of like how much you're willing to sacrifice. And there's no shame sometimes of doing a lot of the things that sometimes people criticize you for.
Sure.
You know, when I shared this to people, it's like I didn't have money. I was lying to my parents, but I was going there to clean a gym where my friends were working out.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, maybe that was, you know, like, I don't know. It's kind of like diminishing you or making you feel less than them. But I was just like, you know, like seeing my friends working out next to me while I was cleaning the gym, it was completely okay with it because I had that mission in my head that I was doing that in exchange of like something that I really wanted.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then that's how I got started there, and when I moved here,
Mm-hmm.
I was still going to the gym. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember working. My first job was at Corner Bakery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know a
That's a
lot
good
of I
place.
know a lot of people know that place.
Yeah.
I didn't know how popular it was,
Definitely. Yeah.
and I guess like like I was never satisfied being just learning one aspect of that particular business. I'm talking about Corner Bakery, right?
Sure.
I started as a food runner,
Mm-hmm.
and even though there is a lot of funny stories there too, I
Yeah.
didn't know what silverware was. I was My dad went to the interview with
Yeah.
me, and he set me up with like the manager and everything. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, he speaks perfect English. You should hire him. He's a hard worker guy.
Yeah.
And going in there, I didn't even know what silverware was. Plates,
Love
nothing.
that.
I was just being kind of like sign
Yeah.
language.
Yeah.
And a few of the cooks, of course, they spoke Spanish, but they were like, translating certain things for me.
Oh, yeah. Trying to
Uh,
help you out.
right? And then
Yeah.
I remember being picked on managers. I will never forget.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me next door to. I remember there was an IHOP,
Mm-hmm.
looking for a squeegee sharpener.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I go in there with my squeegee
Aw.
next door,
Yeah.
and I talk to the manager. It's like, hey, so I'm from next door looking for the squeegee sharpener,
That's mean.
right? And he's like, oh, wait a second, and then he put
Hard
something.
life lessons.
He put something together, and he handed it out to me. And I come back and I'm like super confused, like, hey, he gave me this, but how are they supposed to work with this?
Yeah.
And then they laugh at it.
Yeah.
But these are just experiences
Yeah.
that until the day of today I carry it with me because it never make me feel less. And maybe for a lot of people, when they happen to experience this kind of like situations in life, they take it in the very bad way. Depending, of course, you have to know how to differentiate if somebody's trying to make you feel less or trying to put you down. But the environment that I was working in was very friendly. I was very good friends with the manager. They saw that I was a really hard worker. As a matter of fact, working at Corner Bakery, I learned how to become a cook just because I always wanted to learn a little bit more. I didn't want to be satisfied with only one thing.
Sure.
And I guess unconsciously, that's kind of like the mindset of being an entrepreneur, like not just being satisfied knowing this much, but you have to be open to learning a lot and do a lot of the work yourself. So I got cross-trained with multiple things. I remember being a baker, baking those cream cakes for Christmas, and I was back there like baking breads and all this kind of stuff. Like
Wow.
I never thought I was gonna be able to do. And then greeting, and that's was the first time where I found a very like challenge to like be able to read instructions in English. But it was just so challenging that I really wanted to learn.
Yeah.
So and then the last station, and probably the most uncomfortable one, was being a cashier
Okay.
because
Yeah,
I
you had to talk to people.
Oh my god! I was like, you say what? And
Yeah.
learning how the interaction of being like customer service is smiling all the time,
Yes.
and but then I did it all, and that's actually what really helped me. Also, like working in the service industry, where I had to like deal with people, and I guess not knowing too much English put me in a situation where I had to develop a lot of personality to make that person like me when there was a language barrier.
Right.
So there is a lot of body gestures, a lot of smiling, a lot of like small things that a lot of people maybe don't do, that worked in my favor. And then little by little, I started shaping myself where I acquired like certain skills to make approachable, I guess.
Definitely.
Hmm.
I love that. So, how did you meet your business partner, and how did you guys start your
Sean.
fitness? Yeah. So tell us about it, and where does the name come from? So tell everybody.
Oh, I know. Actually, our business, our Revolution Fitness, stands the two R's in the beginnings for our last names.
Oh, okay.
Rivers and Ramirez.
I like that. That's
Right?
cool.
Because Revolution Fitness unfortunately was taken.
Okay.
So
I feel that.
we had to put something, and then we were like, hey, what about we put the initial of our last names, and it just happens to be RR. So it kind of like sounded good. But after leaving Corner Bakery, I went to this restaurant. It's called Turkish Cafe, which is actually here in.
Yep.
You know that place?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And
I have one friend from Turkey.
really?
I went to
Oh my
college
God.
at UTD with him.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went once with him.
It was a great place. I started working there when I was 18, barely legal to like being to be a busser. That's how.
Okay.
That's where I started.
Oh, nice.
A friend of mine who worked there got me the job position,
Okay.
and I was just bussing tables, right?
hmm
Um,
So y'all went there.
yes, but I met him in a different. A few years later, when
Okay.
I was the assistant manager there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I
Okay.
worked my way up little
Yeah.
by little. I remember how I was given the opportunity to become a server,
Okay.
and I have never been an actual server
Mm-hmm.
because I guess remind you like from being 16, I was 18. I have only like 2 years in. My English was, somewhat okay, good,
Sure.
but not really to actually. I didn't feel comfortable to actually go into a table and be like, "Hey, how are you? What can I get
Yeah.
for you?
Right.
Can you explain me this dish?"
Mhm.
I was just probably like reading what was on the menu, but I
Okay.
couldn't really explain them.
Mhm.
And I was given the opportunity to be a server one day because people got sick. And then I started working there, and the same work ethics. And I think that's what you will determine your success in anything that you do in life.
Absolutely.
Just work hard, mind your business, and do the best that you can. And I did that. Maybe because I was afraid of getting fired or not performing good enough. But I was just always very, I guess, good at just, doing my job.
Yes.
I wasn't too much focusing on like making friends at first. I always just wanted to be good at this because I struggle a lot with like having that relationship with people because
Okay.
of my language barriers.
Sure.
And
I mean, I can only imagine because I don't have that. But going to
Right.
other countries, I'm traveling. I can relate.
and then you have to serve them. So
Mhm.
it was kind of a bit of a challenge. But
Yeah.
anyways, I mean, friends there that I met throughout my career as a server, it was great. They were they were encouraging me all the time to do things better. I used to run or call people around and be like, "Hey, can you explain me what he wants?" And
Yeah.
know?
Help you out.
and then thank God the people that I was always interacting with, they were very understanding. I was like, man, actually, like good for you that you're actually putting yourself out there.
I love that.
And little by little, I started developing a relationship with the owner.
Okay.
With the owner, and maybe because I was already working there for like 3-4 years,
Wow.
and he seen that same phase and how much I wanted. So I was given the opportunity to work a little bit of the management aspect, and that's when Sean came.
Oh, okay.
So he was going to UNT, and he was looking for a job, and then he came and applied for a job as a server.
Okay.
And I remember, I will never forget that. One of the managers told him like, "Hey, this guy Pierre is going to be training you," and he's like, "Oh my God, his name just sounds annoying already." Right?
Okay.
Because and then I came and approached him, and then I saw him, and I was like, "Hey," and then that's how we clicked. It was just in the restaurant environment,
That's cool.
and he had a big passion also for fitness. He came from a background of like exercising,
Okay.
trying to do something, but on a personal level.
Sure.
I always had that kind of like a need to kind of like impact people's life and through fitness. And then we used to go out a lot, after work, sit down, go out to eat. I remember in this place, Sabuki on 75. It was kind of like a regimen. We used to go to the gym together really late at night, probably from like 10 to 12 after we were done with everything. And because that place was open till 3 in the morning. So we would go from like 12 to 1 and sit down and just have the same meal every single day and talk about life. And then we were like, hey, what about like, we combine our efforts and we come out with a brand. And he studied finances.
Oh, wow.
And he's very good with numbers. Oh my God, this guy is a genius when it comes down to numbers. And then we were like, hey, what about we combine our knowledge and then we come out with a business and we put it together. And then that's how It started in a restaurant,
so cool.
just eating food. Nothing really that we we planned around or.
Yeah. So it just kind of was born. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was born
What year was that?
2016.
2016. Okay.
That's where we first started, and probably a lot of people are gonna hate me for this, especially people that work in a corporate of, like 24 hours,
Sure.
LA Fitness, and everything else.
Mhm.
I just had a bad taste. The first time when I got my certification, before I decide to go 100% with this business idea,
Sure.
I went to apply to, I'm not going to say the name, but I went to apply to a gym, right?
Okay.
To become a personal trainer.
A big known gym. We
A
just
really
don't know
well-known-
unknown name.
Unknown name.
So you had your physical trainer certification,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. To clarify.
I have my personal training, so as soon as you're finished with your studying and everything,
Sure.
you just really want to do something with it,
Apply it. Absolutely.
right? And then the first thing, I didn't know what owning a business was. I didn't know anybody here, so I guess I was like, I'm gonna pay my dues, maybe in a gym,
Sure.
build some sort of experience and everything, and
Get some contacts. Yeah.
contacts, get to
Clientele.
know people, exactly. But then when they break down like not only the pay for the trainers, because I feel like the way that the system is set up is not, they don't really cater too much in the needs of their clients. And I know a lot of people out there are gonna probably disagree with me because, of course, yeah, you have to incorporate like the electricity and the bills and the establishment and all this kind of like fees into the personal training aspect. But I just felt like people were getting ripped off for the amount of price that they were paying for the little time and the little involvement of these trainers. It didn't sit well. I thought I was just more like taking people's money with little effort. And not only that, like trainers were not getting paid what they're supposed to.
Absolutely. I've heard that from several people actually.
And you're there like devoting a lot of your times working, from 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. because you're the brand new one, so you have to
Sure.
put your hours there.
Yep. Got to put in those. Grind it out. Yeah.
And a lot of that money that at first I thought it was too much for the little involvement that you get with your trainer, all of that goes to the gym.
Yep.
And trainers, they get stuck working with a lot of clients, a lot of hours for this minimum pay. And I remember leaving that day after my interview, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a business that can be affordable for anybody who actually wants to accomplish a fitness goal.
Sure.
But most importantly, to have the involvement and and pay the trainers what they deserve. Because changing somebody's life is not just like, getting from point A to point B. And I guess that's what we do a lot of we have a very different approach when it comes down to our clientele. We get them to understand that this is not like a race. You don't want to just lose a few inches or lose X amount of weight. It's more of a mindset that you're supposed to shape.
Right.
Because if you're losing weight for 10, 20 pounds for the summer, for a wedding, then after that, you go back to your your old self, your old habits.
Yes, because it's just a temporary goal.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of people out there are built to think like that because of how the industry is built for people to believe that. It's like, yeah.
Well, in society in general, it's all
Yeah.
about instant gratification.
Right?
Not long-term goals.
Long-term goals.
Yeah.
And you have that a lot. And then the advertisements that you see even on TV, it's like lose 20 pounds within a month. Lose 20
Right.
pounds within X amount of like this diet or whatever. You kill yourself doing that.
Yep.
You build not good relationship with food. And then later on when you're done and you have invested all this money, all this effort, you didn't acquire any knowledge, like how your body worked, why you were consuming these foods, what were you eating these, what were you taking these supplements, what were you having this much of a routine to do at that gym.
Yep.
And then when you're done with it, I've seen people like going back to where they were, and then all the money, all the effort just went down the toilet.
Yeah.
And seeing that, it was just like, I just want to set something different. I just want to set up the line, draw a line. What is the standard?
Sure.
And just do something different for people.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit before too. You said there were some things that set you guys apart as a company, a fitness brand. So tell us a little bit more in depth about how you customize your solutions to fit, the busy professionals.
Okay, so this is actually what I love to talk about because before I became a coach, I was a client first. I've done bodybuilding in a couple of shows, so I had to acquire the knowledge of a coach, right?
I think that's great though, because you saw the perspective on either side of the business. And I think as an entrepreneur, and you can speak about your experience, but I think it makes you more well-rounded because you can literally relate to your client and understand and feel how they felt, or like you can literally stand in their shoes and be like, oh, I was a client myself once, this was my experience. And then people also respect you more, they trust you more, the relationship is built stronger, the client, customer relationship as well. So I think overall that's awesome. And speaking as a small solopreneur as well myself with this brand, like you said it earlier, we figure it out. Like entrepreneurs, we do most of it ourselves, and I think it makes us even more relatable, more humble, and more open to understanding that other person's perspective because we've been there.
Yeah.
So.
It was honestly like I'm thankful that I actually had the chance to have really bad experiences.
Yes, makes us better.
Right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, believe it or not, like our failures are people's. I feel like if you fail, so you're preventing somebody from making the same kind of mistakes.
Right, and then you can teach them, and then also you can know what not to do.
What to do exactly.
Yeah.
So, just having a lot of experience with different kind of coaches and like knowing their approach, and most importantly knowing how they interacted with me, and of course putting money on the side because everybody would charge for their services. I felt there was a big disconnection. I felt like the way that coaching a bodybuilder is a lot different from coaching somebody who just wants to like lose 10, 20 pounds, right?
Sure.
It's a little bit more of a strict diet, a strict workout, strict like that. It's more like a military boot camp, if you want to think it that way.
Yep.
But
Regimented, more
yeah,
regimented.
right. So it's a little bit of a different approach, but however, people that are wired like that, they're more likely to have the same kind of approach for somebody. Like, for example, like if you would like to accomplish a fitness goal, right? If I'm wired to think that everybody should eat this much or work this much and work this hard and wake up at 5 in the morning to do cardio and all of these, which bodybuilders do. I remember doing that. It was like, it was a lot. And then you're trying to transmit that to somebody who is just working in a regular job, have a desire to change their life, but maybe not looking like sculpted or like apped out and stuff like that. You're going to make these people hate their lives, right? And going back to where you were saying, like, what things we do different, is like we actually take into consideration your lifestyle. And that's the reason why we have been so successful doing this, because we ask questions that maybe trainers do not ask, like, how many kids do you have? Do you have a family? How many hours do you work? Do you even have time to eat? Like, I feel like these kind of like details are so important, because if I'm designing a diet plan that requires you to eat, like, I don't know, 3 times a day or 4 times a day with your snacks, but then you work from 9 all the way to 5 p.m. and you have only 1 break, how are you supposed to follow that plan?
Right.
And people stressed out because they feel they're not accomplishing what is being told by their coaches, and they feel like they're failing. And feeling like a failure when you're trying to accomplish something and you're paying for it, it puts you in the mindset where you just don't want to keep pursuing it.
Well, yeah, because you get frustrated because the expectations aren't meeting the reality.
Exactly. And
Because it doesn't fit the lifestyle.
Doesn't fit the lifestyle. And there's a lot of stuff out there that they dictate what you should be following, what you should be eating, what you should be doing, rather than accommodate these things. And of course, you have to follow a plan and regimen, right? We're trying to
get
change,
results, yeah, for anything,
right?
honestly.
We have to change a little bit, like the way that you were doing things, because obviously they're not working. but taking into consideration who you are as a person. What things do you do? What things do you like? How many hours do you work? If you even have time after you get off from work, if you go home and you have kids. Like all of these things we put into consideration and we build a plan that fits everybody's lifestyle. So where you don't feel like you're running, you have another chore in your day. Oh my God, I have to go exercise.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people having like that kind of like relationship,
Mentality with
right?
it.
It's like, oh my God, I have to go lift. They go in there, they grab the weight, do 1, 2, 3, take picture for the Instagram. We're done with it. Go home, and then they're like, man, I haven't changed, not even a single bit.
Sure.
But we changed that to the point where they actually enjoy it. Because there's 3 main things that we do in our plan. We make something that is attainable. We're not going to send you to kill yourself, right? Little by little. And the second thing is like we make the programs enjoyable so people can actually enjoy the process of learning this, of like acquiring the knowledge and getting the results. And the third one is just we provide real-time support. We don't do emails. I hate emails because I remember approaching my coach and be like, hey, I'm at the store. Do you mind if I get this kind of like snacks to supplement this? I'm not going to camp on the store and waiting for the email to come back
Sure.
the next day. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, you can have that. I'm like, I'm not there. So we provide like calls to our clients. We provide like text messages with their coaches. So they have always that connection. If you feel like you want to talk to your coach and you feel like you have a question, it is available right there for you.
Nice.
And we divided the departments of nutrition and exercise and performance into 3 sectors. So we do have 3 coaches who are going to be working with you. Somebody who is going to be, hey, are you doing your things? Somebody who's going to focus on your diet, and somebody who's going to focus on your fitness.
Nice.
So that's what makes us so different.
I love that. And then if people are interested in those services, how would they contact you for it?
Well, they can look me up on my Instagram or my...
Which we'll tag.
Yeah, you can tag it right there. I think a lot of people use social media for that. Or they can contact me they can send me an email for people that love to do emails.
Yes.
You can do emails. Unfortunately, cannot give up my phone number because then
it
will just keep blowing up and ringing day and night. And then you never know when it's a scammer or somebody who actually wants to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll tag his email as well for you guys.
There we go. So, email, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Yeah. Whatever works. If anybody have any kind of questions about our programs, then they can just.
I love it. And then, do you guys have a facility? Are you guys going to clients' homes? Is it?
So the way that we do this is through our own online platform.
Okay.
We do have our own app, and this is not an app that you just like click like I want to do chest, and then it pops all these exercises. Because a lot of people have apps like that, and now that you brought this up, all of it is fully customized. So we do have our own app. You cannot unfortunately search it on the App Store. It's upon invitation from us. You only work for our clientele.
That's smart.
And over there, you have your own dashboard, and that's where we upload all the information. Where we also have a big diversity. We call it our university, where we actually upload a lot of content of videos that we have recorded ourselves, where we talk about like cheating, like not cheating on your significant other.
No, he's talking about like diet or cheating yourself.
Right? Cheating, going out to have a cheat meal.
That'll be on a different episode. I'm just kidding.
But having a cheat meal, alcohol while you're pursuing a fitness goal. A lot of people completely have this mindset of like cut off like cold turkey, everything like bread, rice, alcohol, and then it's just not sustainable.
Right.
So we have a big library where we talk about like all these kind of things, a lot of questions like what you should do when you travel, how to like stay in track while going on vacations, things that people can relate. And all of that content, we put it into your dashboard so you can just take it anywhere with you.
That's smart. I like that. That's really awesome.
And now because of like this situation with like the virus and everything, a lot of people happen to realize that they were really depending on their trainers. And the second that your health is dependent is dependent to a person,
Mm-hmm.
look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people felt like they were on the air. They didn't know what to eat. They didn't know how to exercise. They
Yeah.
didn't know. And there were people who were gaining weight at home.
Right.
But if you would have been, because they're not built, and unfortunately out there, a lot of the trainers don't build their clients to be sustainable on their own.
Mm. So they're dependent.
It's a vicious cycle, unfortunately, right?
Mm-hmm.
We give you results. You stay longer with us. It's better for us. But we believe, I mean, it's like a snowball effect for us. Like if we get you from point A to point B,
Mm-hmm.
you acquire all the knowledge, and you don't need us anymore. If somebody looks at you like, wow, Elizabeth, you're looking amazing. Who has transformed your life?
Pierre.
You'd be like, well, this guy right here on my podcast did the work. And then we acquire a different client. And then
Right. Word of mouth.
right? And then that's how we build this business from the bottom. Like we haven't
Love that.
had a lot of money, unfortunately, to do a lot of marketing, like a lot of big businesses.
Sure.
But it was just like success story after success story that start like having us like constant clients coming to us.
Yeah. And that's what speaks for itself. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your real estate.
Oh,
You do some short-term leasing options. So.
yes. So what I mean by short-term rentals, I'm pretty sure everybody have heard about Airbnbs.
Yep.
There you go. So that's basically it. Well, my business partner actually, Sean,
Okay.
was the one who started this crazy adventure as soon as COVID started. And I wish I would have started with him on the same time because it was a brilliant idea. Because, I mean, looking at from the perspective of being the accommodations, how comfortable you are, the space for the price that you pay, and maybe being in just in one place than a hotel, you know, you have the option of renting a house. You know,
Sure.
if you and your friends or family members go to a house and pay X amount of money, and you have a kitchen, multiple bathrooms, living room, backyard, and nobody bothers you. You know?
Right. Yeah.
In a hotel, you don't have that much of options. You can have a microwave. Some of them come with a kitchen, but they're really pricey.
Mm-hmm.
And so he saw this opportunity, you know, acquiring properties, not necessarily buying them.
Okay.
You can do some sort of a deal with a landlord where you can tell them like your business model. And honestly, it worked just, I will say, amazing.
Okay.
Because people would rather travel to like a house where it was properly sanitized. Not to say that the hotels were not sanitizing their
Right.
rooms, but there was a lot more traffic of people coming in and out in
Absolutely.
the small environment. Where a house, you're like kind of like isolated in that particular place,
Right.
and you're sharing it with the people that you know,
Right. Absolutely.
right? So
More privacy too. Having the
pri-
ability to cook. Like,
cook,
there's a lot of benefits.
a lot of great things, you know.
Yeah.
So
easy to access in and out.
in and out, you can throw your little gathering,
More
not
safe.
a party,
Yeah.
because we don't allow parties, unfortunately. That brought a lot of issues with the neighbors and stuff like that. So we don't
Yeah.
do parties, but you can do your gatherings, you know, your stuff like that, and that's why he got started first, and then you know he mentioned the business to me, and for some reason I loved it. And I do a lot of the stuff myself. And again, this is part of being an entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
You might not have all the money to get somebody to come and paint your walls
Sure.
or to do your moving. So I had to rent my U-Haul. Then, you know, go acquire all this furniture, paint the walls, fixing like the stuff to make it like appealing for people to stay. Because that's
Yeah.
the whole game of Airbnb, honestly. And a lot of people that are trying to do this business do not get to understand that the same way that if you would like to go somewhere, you know, I mean, because when you book a vacation home or a vacation place, you see all the stuff that comes with it, right? Here's a nice big top or the artwork or the or stuff like that. So it makes you more inclined towards renting that place
Absolutely.
rather than just seeing a white wall, a
Yeah.
bed, and a lamp.
So you guys kind of decorate it, make it
Yes.
personal. Yeah, absolutely.
And I started watching, which was very funny. I have a lot of my mom, and like you know, I share my Netflix account with a few
Yeah.
people. And all of
My
a
whole
sudden-
family's on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And
You
then
can see what they watch too.
And they
It's
were
funny.
questioning, like, my mom was asking me the other day, it's like, hey, who's watching all these, like, interior designing shows? Like, and I was like, oh.
That's me.
That's
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I had to acquire the knowledge from somewhere.
Absolutely.
I have to, at first, to do something. I mean, of course, we had mentors that teach us the business model. We just didn't, which is probably the mistake that a lot of people make, is just trying to like get started and acquire the knowledge, everything for free. And then you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and then you're gonna get
Yes.
discouraged, right? Entrepreneurship is all about, like, of course, exploring your options and doing a lot of things yourself, but it also comes with some sort of an investment, you know.
Yep.
The same way, I have no idea how to run a podcast. As easy as my this sound or look,
Yeah.
it's not, you know.
Yeah.
So you might actually teach me how to do something like
Yes.
that, how to be successful at it. So we had mentorships, we have a lot of things, but when it comes down to decorating and stuff like that, I didn't have the money to hire like an interior designing
Yeah.
company or person to come look at the house.
Yeah.
So I had to learn about like freaking lighting,
Yeah.
like colors and shapes and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I fell in love with it. I loved the fact that I was able to like change a room and the decoration and everything. And I don't know if my mom did pretty good. I don't know if it's like, you know, like how people say about
Sure.
like, I don't know if you're a strong believer about the signs and like, you know, the moon and this and how you're supposed to have this some sort
Kinda,
of like all this
yeah.
kind of stuff. So apparently I have a lot of feminine traits
Okay.
because
At least you're not afraid to admit it.
no, that's what a lot of people have told me.
Yeah.
I have a lot of feminine traits when it comes down to like picking stuff
Aesthetic
and
things
aesthetics and like that.
Yeah, it's good though, actually.
And I was like, okay, well, I guess that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. Yeah.
And-
Especially in business.
Yeah, because guys, if you're probably hearing this, I'm sorry, but I have to admit, if you leave decoration to a guy, they're just gonna buy what's needed.
Yeah.
Girls buy
Exactly.
what's pretty, what's like, oh my god, this looks
Nice.
nice. Oh my god,
Yeah.
this looks the shape. This
Yeah.
looks comfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
you walk into a girl's place, it makes you feel like you're walking into like somewhere important, something comfortable.
Yeah.
You walk to a guy's place, it's just like a
Bland.
couch, a table, a dying plant in the corner.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's just-
Hopefully it's clean.
Hopefully it's clean, you know. So that's the kind of
Yeah.
traits, and
Yeah.
for some reason I loved it. And till the day of today, the majority of Airbnbs that I've been doing, the interior designing, I do it myself.
That's awesome.
Trying to teach my brother a little bit about it, so he can help me out, because as we grow, the demand is high, and you know, we only have like 2 legs, 2 hands, 1 head,
Yes.
and I would like to get my family more involved into
I love
this.
that. How many properties do you guys have?
Together we have approximately like 16, 17.
Wow. All across JFW or?
Yeah, only Texas.
Okay.
Now we're trying to diversify and go
Okay.
for Florida. California is a tricky place. There's a lot of
Yeah.
laws and restrictions there, but Florida seems to be a good spot to have for
Okay.
sure.
So is it
And-
through Airbnb or is it?
Through Airbnb.
Oh, it is through Airbnb.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's just because it's easier. The
Sure.
platform is already built for people to, you know,
Absolutely.
go in there, book their stuff, in and
Yeah.
out. Everything is already situated. But we do offer a lot of like accommodations too for people that are relocating.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like for
Okay.
people that have issues with their, like I remember last year during this time when pipes start going crazy and then start flooding homes and all this kind of stuff. Then we had like, you know, the opportunity to provide some housing for this
That's
for people like that
Okay.
that have these kind of issues. So we
I
do
love that.
that kind of short rental
Okay.
business as well.
Perfect. And then since we only have a couple minutes left, I want you to briefly talk to us about the nonprofit you have in Peru and how it helps, and then any other last minute tips you have for everybody.
Oh, the nonprofit. Yes.
Yes.
It was honestly a dream come true. I always have every time I travel to Peru, it's just, I don't know, in my blood. And I can see there is a lot of people there, you know, they have their own problems, they have their own struggles. But people mind their business when they're walking on the street. And you can see a beggar or somebody who's selling candy. I know you don't see that much here in America, but
No.
in other countries, you know, you
Yes.
have little kids selling like, you know, candy
Anything.
or anything. And it didn't matter if I was like if I was giving a lot of my money away, but I just wanted to have the opportunity to have something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had that little thing inside of me. And then as I was getting better financially,
Mm-hmm.
I aspired to do something bigger where I could impact more people.
Okay.
And this year, I had the opportunity to meet up with like a friend of mine who lived in Peru, who has been doing this for a little bit. So he has all this business model already set up there.
Mm-hmm.
And this last time when I went to Peru, which was actually a few weeks ago, I just came back from
Oh,
there.
that's awesome.
We had the opportunity to talk about it, and with another friend of mine who lives in Florida, we met up, all the three of us, and then we were like, "Hey, what about we do this to a different kind of scale?"
Sure.
And in Christmas, we were able to help about 200 kids.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
we did a small like Christmas dinner for all these people. So we had a lot of families that brought their kids that maybe didn't have the opportunity or the access to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they haven't had the experience to receive something because
Sure.
they're so poor. And unfortunately, there's a lot of poverty in Peru. That we set them up, you know, we like hot chocolate, you know, the turkey and all these kind of like foods, and buy gift for them, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
just seeing that
Mm-hmm.
um, smiles, and it was just one of the biggest gratifications I ever had in my life.
I love that.
Yeah. So,
And tell us about the meaning
oh
and
yeah,
the name.
the name, which is Hambre de Sueños. If we translate this into English, it doesn't sound so good, uh, but the idea of that is kind of like being is hungry for dreams, and kind of like what we translate when it was my friend who came out with this name. It's like this person is they're not really like, of course they might not have access to buy a lot of food,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just hungry of dreaming all of these things that maybe they never had. These kids have no idea how the outside world really works.
Right.
They don't know if they're supposed to get something for Christmas. They don't know they're supposed to have a nice turkey in front of them for Christmas. There is a lot of things that they were new for them, and
Sure.
there is a lot of dreams that they might have of like maybe going to school. You know, a lot of these kids are like home taught. You know, like they go to they their parents teach them stuff. They start working in a really early age. They don't have no education, so that's kind of what it translates. So we don't only provide food and stuff like that for people like this, but we actually send them help with like books to read
Mm-hmm.
and help them from that kind of like
Mm.
aspect because we believe that education are gonna set them up for a better lifestyle later on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things
I
that
love
we're trying to
that.
do this year, and just having the opportunity to start this early in this 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm just really excited to what's coming up next.
That's awesome. How
Mhm.
can people support the nonprofit?
We're trying to figure it out how it will work with people that have businesses here and how we can actually link it together
Okay.
um, so they can offer donations.
Okay.
We're trying to set up a very nice, like I said, we're trying to make this something where people have access to see the kind of work that we do.
Yes.
From here, we're trying to set up a website where they can see all the stuff that we do because it looks pretty when I talk
Yeah.
about it, right? But
Yeah.
people like to see facts and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to put everything together. But once I have that information,
Yeah. You can give it to me.
I'll make sure to to share with everybody who is who just would like to make any kind of small donation. It doesn't have to be necessarily money.
Mm-hmm.
It can be clothes. It
Sure.
can be used toys and stuff like that we use shipping companies to send it from here to there.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be
And
great.
just seeing these kids and seeing these families actually smiling or acquiring stuff that they're not used to,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different kind of happiness. It's a different kind of gratification that you get. Maybe you are not yourself capable of going there and doing yourself because we
Sure.
do a lot of volunteer work. So anybody who would like to participate, they're more than welcome
Aw.
to do so.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But if you're the kind of person who is so caught up with life
Yeah.
that you would like to still contribute,
Mm-hmm.
we're coming up with this stuff that you can just be part of this cause
Yeah.
from anywhere.
That's great. I love that. Well, anything, last words of advice you'd like to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I guess something that I would like to share with everybody. Do not be afraid of failure.
Mm.
And I know like you probably read this a lot of in like motivational books and stuff like that people talk about it. But from my experience, I mean, you can read 1,000 books,
Sure.
but if they don't really make sense in within you, if they don't really like, you cannot translate those words into actions, then it's very hard for anybody to actually accomplish that success. Um, so do not be afraid of like failing at doing what you're trying to do. At first, any businesses are going to demand a lot of your work, a lot of your time. You might not even make you money, right? Depending if you're doing something for, and which is gonna tie me up to my second point. Uh, do not open a business just because of the money. Follow a passion. You know, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine.
That's actually a great tip.
Yeah, because a lot of people would like to duplicate or replicate a
Yes.
business model. It's like if you happen to have a business and then you see your friend is doing pretty well,
Hmm.
but your friend has already been doing this for years, right?
Right.
And you're trying to replicate this business because of the money aspect.
Sure.
You're not passionate about it, so therefore you're not going to have the same energy, the same dedication, the same input that your friend did when came up with this business. The fact that you're somebody else and you're not your friend is going to impact the way that your business is developed. You're like, Pierre, your fitness brand is doing amazing. I want to be a trainer too, but maybe you don't have the same approach that I do. So there's a small factors that are going to determine how successful you are at what you're doing, and that's why I tell people it's like follow your passion.
Yeah, you have to have that internal fire for it. 'Cause
Yes.
if not, you're not going to be as successful as he is if you don't actually like fitness.
Yeah. Or if you enjoy interviewing people in the podcast, you have to have that kind of like,
Yes.
you cannot be
Innate
bored.
desire.
Yeah, you cannot be bored. You're interviewing people like, yeah, so here we are with Elizabeth. And
Yeah.
tell us about your life,
Yeah.
You have to be intrigued of getting people's, advice and how they have overcome obstacles and stuff like that. And coming here to this country, not knowing too much and accomplishing what I have today, which I don't feel I have accomplished a lot, right? In comparison to a lot of people living here already. But you have to also understand that those little steps are still a win. I think a lot of people are really hard because they compare. Unfortunately, social media is really bad. It can be great for a lot of things, but it can be really bad whenever people start comparing themselves to
Sure.
other people. It's like, oh my God, I have my fitness brand, but this person is 26 and he's already a millionaire. I'm 27 and I'm not making this much money. What's going on?
Sure.
And then you start comparing yourself. You think you're not good enough. You start feeling low. Things are changing. You don't get the same fire. And think about if you're not doing this for passion. You're
It's
doing
even harder.
you're doing it for the money. It's even harder. And you're going to fail.
Right.
And once you fail, it's really hard to get back up. But it's part of the process. But it will be easier to get back up and keep doing and pursuing your dreams if you have a passion for it. Because are hard in the beginning. Things are hard in the beginning. I remember that I was like training people for free, just to get my name out there.
Yep.
And trying to do my best that I could to get my name out there. And just be disciplined too. If you're trying to pursue something, get up early. Well, a lot of people that know me, they know me. I'm not a morning person, okay?
Me either.
But get up early, I mean...
Relatively early.
Right, get up at a time where it's a decent time.
Reasonable.
No, I'm not asking you to get up at 5 in the morning, but
No, that's not me.
somewhere where you can actually get your day started
Productive.
and be productive and like do not expect handouts. Do not
Right.
expect of like life is just gonna give you like everything for you. You have
No,
to
you have to work at everything in your
you,
life.
you have to
wanna
work. You
accomplish
have
it.
to surround yourself with people that are going to put you in that kind of like path as well. I think that I have a lot of my friends who have that problem, and I can see it because the same friends that I grew up with, of course, they're still amazing friends with me.
Yeah.
But the friends that I constantly socialize and interact with are completely different from these friends.
Yes. Yeah. Different.
And I'm not saying that these are better than these and these are better
No.
than this. I'm just saying like for business purposes, I feel more comfortable, and I feel that I have more of a conversation with these people because they're business
Mindset
minded.
similar. Yeah.
The minds are pretty similar.
Yeah. It's not that they're just on different paths, and when you associate with people who are where you want to be or think the way that you think, then that's when you elevate and grow.
Yeah.
So.
You're saying that's 110%.
Yeah.
And people are afraid to make the change. People are afraid to take the step, and then to have new people in your life.
I'm always meeting people.
And then getting to know, because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yep, that's the saying. That's true.
And I guess what has worked the best for me, and I will advise anybody who's watching and listening to this podcast, be a good listener. Not because you talk a lot, it means that you know a lot. I can memorize a lot of stuff,
Anyone can.
Anybody can. Anybody can fool
a monkey
anybody.
can.
Yeah, right? But if you're a very good listener, you're going to be able to acquire so much knowledge. And it doesn't matter if you're going to apply it or not. I think that a lot of people will get very caught up and very defensive when you have your father, your mom, your friend coming like, hey, I think you should be doing this podcast like that.
Right.
And then people are like, well, nobody asked you. First place. Second of all, it's none of your business, and it's my business. But I always had the tendency to be like, really? Okay, well, I'm open to any suggestions. Tell me what do you think that could improve this, right? What do you think that can improve my personal training business?
Well, yeah, and sometimes it helps to have an outside perspective that's not in your field, because sometimes they can see things that you can't see.
And then sometimes they give you this wonderful advice, and you're like, how come I didn't think about this? Yeah. And I apply it. I have never, I don't care if you're a trainer, you have any kind of background when it comes down to understanding how this business works. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or not. Till the day of today, I call my dad before I make a big decision.
I call my dad too.
And he's like,
Yeah.
And I talk to my mom too. My dad is more
my mom too, but my dad's more business.
Yes, my dad is more like, son, this is not a good deal.
Yeah.
If I talk about business with my mom, I'm always more of an emotional person. So I have to talk about the non-profit was wonderful with my mom.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes down to money.
Categories.
Right? You have to know who you talk to.
Right.
I cannot ask for love advice to my dad.
Right.
Love advice to my mom. Well, you see,
depends on the father.
Right?
Yeah.
My dad is like, go explore the world, son.
Yeah.
You're young. Enjoy it.
Oh, gosh.
Where my mom is like, son, maybe.
Bachelor life over here.
No, that's my dad. That's my
okay.
Dad. We didn't follow the same.
I see.
Follow the same
You're different.
step.
That's right.
We're different.
You're the one that fell in love. Okay.
I'm the one who fell in love, came back.
Yeah. Change the whole trajectory
Change the whole
of your
thing.
life.
Almost got kicked out, yeah. So probably my dad is watching this. There you go. But
he still loves you, though.
I still love you. I still call you for advice. But yeah, until the day of today, I feel like having that kind of people in your life who really care about you. Just be open to listen. Be open. The more you listen, the better you become at this kind of stuff. The more knowledge you're going to acquire.
Absolutely.
And the stuff that you read on the internet, the stuff that you do, do not be afraid to invest.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people like to have this easy way in of acquiring everything for free.
Yeah.
You have to pay your dues. You have to acquire somebody who's going to teach you how to do better. Nothing in this world comes for free. I have spent a lot of money to acquire the knowledge that I have. Yep. And if you are not willing to invest on yourself, then don't expect any crazy results. Yeah.
Well, and then don't expect anyone to invest in you or your business as well. So
that's why I tell people this is not a fitness program only. This is an investment for your life.
Right.
If you can invest in a Louis Vuitton bag, on a car, or or wine every single weekend, you can invest this on your health too.
Absolutely.
You have only one body, one life, and then after that, God knows what's going to happen to us.
Right. Yep. So true. Well, that's so
that's kind of a piece of advice for anybody.
Yes. Well, awesome. Well, we're super thankful that you're here as a guest today on Double E. You guys stay tuned for some more stuff coming from him and his adventures as an entrepreneur. Pierre, thanks for being with us.
No, thank you for having me. This actually has been really, really fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think you guys probably gained a lot from this episode. I'm probably going to rewatch it myself a few times, even after editing and posting it for y'all. But yes, you guys stay tuned for the next episode of Double E Elevating Entrepreneurs.